Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Thursday, June the 22nd, race number 8 at Belmont Park. 3-year-old fillies going 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf. This is a first level allowance with a 62,500 claiming option. Let's take a peek at this field. Please scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on mobile, which includes free formulator past performances. Chad Brown has the 2 favorites on the morning line. The 8 Big Brass Red coming off of a pretty good trip victory at Monmouth. First time for Chad. And Root Cause, the number 4, who was in a tough 2-life allowance last time out at Churchill. I think he's going to be a little bit more conservatively ridden this time.
Yeah, she probably had a pretty big excuse in her most recent start. I don't think I'd hold that one against her too much. It still remains to be seen how good Root Cause is, Dan. But she slightly raised her stablemate on the outside, who's a slight favorite, earned a top figure, breaking her maiden off a perfect trip last time.
I had a little trouble coming up with who would be the main pace setter in this race. Maybe our friends at Timeform US can give us a hand. After the first half mile, Timeform US believes the 5 Life, Love, and Laughter chased a fast pace in her seasonal debut at Pimlico last time, can be on the lead. I think the 6 Quarrel is going to be a lot closer to the pace as she drops back down in class.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wasn't quite sure how this pace was going to shake out. It could certainly be the 5, though. She wants to be forward, if nothing else, and she does exit a race off the layoff last time that was run at a very fast pace.
Note the LP designation over the chicklet of the number 1, Stephanie's Charm. That denotes that Stephanie's Charm is the highest late pace figure according to Timeform US. It would benefit if this pace heats up. Starting things off with Stephanie's Charm, I think she's a little bit dirtied up. Her most recent race was her first start off a 2-month layoff. She got wired that day. You look at her races prior to that, she was probably in too tough in the Florida Oaks and the Sweetest Chant. I thought she ran well in the Ginger Brew 4 starts back, and if she runs back to that effort, I think she gets a piece of this, and 12-1 is fair.
Can't argue with any of that stuff. I mean, they ran her in 6 straight stakes races. Some of those are just way too tough for her, but she ran fine in some of them. As you mentioned, I thought her Ginger Brew was good. Even the race that she ran in last time, Dan, that allowance race, that was a way better field than this one. She didn't really get involved there, but this is class relief for this horse in a pretty big way.
A Try in My Heart finished just ahead of Stephanie's Charm in that allowance race at Belmont. Then she came back and she got wired again at Monmouth 2 starts back. Her turf debut 3 back at Aqueduct was a race where she could get close to the pace and she was pretty game. I think there's a question as to how good she is, but she has upside. I like these connections. They're a bit low profile, but they're sharp. And maybe you can just make excuses that the race wasn't run to suit her in her last 2.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm with you. I like these connections as well. This is a very underrated trainer. This horse was the longest shot on the board when she won her turf debut at Aqueduct back in April. And she did get a really good trip in that race before prevailing, but it's not like her next start against, a much better field. It's not like that was a terrible performance. She had potential as a dirt horse early on. She's probably better on turf. She's going to be a price.
Probably too early to give up on her. She cost a lot of money as a yearling, $400,000, and she's by the great into mischief. Fast Kimmy tried to go long for the first time in her career in her most recent start at Gulfstream Park. And while Timeform US says those pace ratings color-coded red, they basically ran 1-2 around the track. Fast Kimmy dropped back, tried to get into it, splitting horses on the second turn. She stayed on okay for a minor award.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I didn't love that performance from her. I didn't want to be too hard on her for it. It was off of a very long layoff. It was her first start beyond 5.5 furlongs as well. I'm happy to give her a pass for that one, Dan. I think she can run better here. I can't say that I loved her. I didn't love her, her races as a 2-year-old, but she could certainly get better.
The 5th place finisher from that last race came back to run second in a synthetic race at Woodbine and allowance with a 78 buyer. Root Cause is up next. She was a maiden winner 2 starts back for Chad Brown at Gulfstream. She was also 1-5 against that overmatched group, and she made them pay. She was just too close to a fast pace last time out. Not a true indication of her abilities. The winner of that race is pretty good as well. Came back to place in a second level allowance up at Belmont with an 85.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to give her the benefit of the doubt for that last one. That pace was pretty fast. I didn't think she had to be as aggressively ridden as she was, but she went after a long shot on the lead there. She got tired. I think it is worth pointing out, however, Dan, I don't know if she ever really got by that long shot who was cutting the pace there. I think that horse still outfinished her at the end, even as the closers came. So I don't know. I know she has excuses for that race. Still didn't love that performance. And as good as she looked winning 2 starts back, she was 1-5 against nobody.
Blinkers on for the 5, Life, Love, and Laughter, as she makes her second start off a lengthy layoff for trainer Michael Trombetta. This one won her maiden second time out at Pimlico and then was sort of thrown to the wolves in her final 2 starts as a 2-year-old. In her first start this year against older horses at Pimlico, I think it was on Preakness Day, kind of a fast pace, and she was relatively close to that pace. She kind of hung in there, Mike, and was only beaten about 4 lengths for all the money. I thought all in all, as a return off a layoff, it was something she could build on.
That's what I liked about it too, Dan. That pace was really, really fast. And she did stay within range of it. And she just never stopped through the stretch. I mean, she wasn't the only one who did that. There were other horses who were also staying on pretty well. I still thought she deserved a little extra credit for that performance off the layoff. It was a slight step in the right direction. I really liked her maiden win last September. And I thought she ran fine in those 2 stakes races at the end of the year.
Another horse going second off the layoff with the tactical speed to get close to the pace is the number 6, Quarrel, who won her turf debut in her final start as a 2-year-old. She won that race in game fashion. They just picked a tough spot for her first race off the bench. They ran her in a graded stake. They took her back to last. There wasn't a ton of pace going on. She should do a lot better against this quality of competition.
Yeah, I think all those things are true. I'll wait and see what kind of price she goes off at here, but I just don't think you're supposed to hold the Soaring Softly against her too much. The stumble at the start thrown in just, makes her that much easier to like. Dan, I liked her maiden when they stretched her out last year. She got a perfect trip in that race and got the job done, but she's so lightly raced. She has pedigree. She's supposed to be better with a little more distance as well. There's a lot to like about this filly.
It took 10 tries for the number 7, Tap It Up, to graduate, but she's slowly been getting better, and I think switching to the turf has really helped her find her potential. Here's her most recent win. Now, this is against maiden claiming competition. She has a pretty good trip. The rail's going to open up for her. She's going to get it done. This is a much better field she's going to be facing, but it's nice to know she's coming in good form.
Yeah, I do like her last 3 races. If nothing else, it shows that she's just better on turf than she is on dirt, obviously. Everything works out perfectly for her here, and she gets the job done. She is up in class in this race, Dan, but it was another step in the right direction. I think she has to improve again.
Big Brass Bed completes the field, the second of the 2 Chad Brown trained entrants. Let's watch her maiden victory at Monmouth. First time out for Chad, second lifetime start. She got a really great trip and ride under Sammy Camacho. She was able to save ground in the pocket on the backstretch, angles out with a 3-wide look, and she takes care of the rest.
She got a perfect trip in this race. She also wins very, very easily. The horse that she just ran by there, who's going to settle for second, the Shug McGahee trained horse, did come back to win her next start with a 75 Beyer speed figure. This horse just ran right by her. She had a perfect trip in there, but she also won easily. She very lightly raced. If she improves again, this field might be in trouble.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Thursday race of the day. Mike, I think Life, Love, and Laughter is going to do a lot better second off the layoff. Curious to see what we get with the blinkers. I like that there's a bullet workout since her last race, assuming she's been working in the blinks.
Yeah, probably. I just, Dan, I didn't like the 2 Chad Brown horses enough to want to take either one of them at a short price. I wanted somebody else in this race. And I think this horse, as we've already talked about, I think she deserves a little extra credit for that return from the layoff.
She does have the tactical speed to get close to the pace. I'm curious to see what we get from Quarrel, who should be a pretty decent price as well. Life, Love, and Laughter, our top selection in the Thursday race of the day. It's the 8th at beautiful Belmont Park. Good luck.